Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for putting aside some time this morning to meet with us. And happy spring. I'm so excited for the warm weather. I know we just had a snowstorm, but now everything's going to bloom and be beautiful. So I hope you're grabbing your cup of coffee while we're letting everybody join. All right. Let's give everybody just a couple more minutes. Big group today. Again, can't say how thankful we are for you to spend some time with us this morning talking about topics that we're just crazy about. We love. All right. Just a couple more minutes. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started. So we have plenty of time for questions at the end and discussion in the middle. Well, thank you all again for being here. My name is Jordan Brown. I'm the Nonprofit Success Manager for coloradogives.org, which is run by Colorado Gives Foundation. And we put on these webinars really to support and excite and inspire you, the nonprofits that we are supporting year round through Colorado Gives. So thanks for giving up some of your time today. And just a couple of quick housekeeping announcements before we jump into the content. So housekeeping for today, this webinar is being recorded. You will get the recording and the slide deck after the webinar. Give us about 24 to 48 hours at most. Additionally, you can use the chat. Keep yourself on mute, but we'd love to see your beautiful faces if you want to. And use the chat. If you have questions, I'll be monitoring the chat, and then we'll have time at the end to address all of those questions. And lastly, for today, as you can see, we have an ASL interpreter. And so you'll be seeing him, and we are providing him if anybody needs that for today's webinar. So thank you to our ASL interpreters as well. All right, without further ado, let me introduce you to Jen Shang, Dr. Jen Shang, I should say, from the Institute of Sustainable Philanthropy. She's joined us today and has been a partner of Colorado Gives Foundation for several years now, and we are so excited to bring to you today some of her amazing work with donor psychology. Jen, I'll turn it over to you so you can say hello and get us started. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me today. It is very nice to see you in this, as Jordan said, on this Tuesday morning, which for me is 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Can I just make sure that everybody can see the slide okay on the screen? The screen is sharing. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Howard. Today, we're going to talk about how playful love can increase donor excitement in digital fundraising. And I can appreciate that being playful is not what we get up and think about doing every morning as very busy and serious fundraising professionals who solve the world's biggest and the most complex problems. But we all deserve a little bit of fun. So my goal today is not just to share with you some of the academic research in playful love, but also to show you some examples from practice. Let me just make sure that I mute all the notifications so you don't hear in the background the banging. Stop. So coming back. Awesome. So really today, we're not talking about playful love for the sake of just talking about love. We're talking about how playful love can increase the excitement people experience when they participate in fundraising events, fundraising activities, whether they are in person or online. So to start with, let's have some definitions about what excitement is. Psychologically, excitement is a positive affect that is associated with not just happiness, but a level of enthusiasm. So it's not like we gently lift a little smile on people's face. Yeah, that is kind of happy, but it's not quite excitement yet. So we want to think about kind of getting people off their chairs, maybe lean in a little bit so they feel like something is activated in them. That's what's associated with excitement. It's active, alert, attentive. It's often associated with a sense of light-hearted and enjoyable atmosphere. So already, let's just have a think about the atmosphere around us in our office with our colleagues. Do I dare say that excitement is not always on every minute with everybody? So it's kind of a thing that we need to cultivate intentionally if we would like to experience it in our atmospheres, and if we would like our donors and supporters to experience that feeling. So it is something that requires a little bit of effort from our side to help people experience. So how can playful love help in generating that excitement? Well, playful love is that exciting, low commitment dynamic. It's a dynamic. It's not a communication like I say something to people and they heard what I said and then they feel playful. That's not how it is. It has an interactive sense to it. When people get something and they feel playful, they feel like they can become part of this light-hearted, fun atmosphere that is almost associated with a sense of spontaneity. So it's not like systematic, deliberate, planned. It's almost like everything opposite from the serious problem-solving process that we carry out in order to succeed in our day activities. So don't feel bad if somehow they don't become immediate second nature for you when you think about your donor communications, because that is so counterculture to how we experience our work every day. But having some playful love can contribute to a rich and potentially long-term committed donor relationship with our nonprofits. So even though it might not be in the everyday atmosphere of our working environment, it might worth our investment once in a while to think about how we can perhaps create that for our donors and supporters on special occasions, if not all the time. We say this because we completed a piece of research that's called the Love Project, which you can click this link, which Jordan can also share with you on the chat, in the chat box. You can click on that link, you can download these two reports, and you can also scan this code, register for an exclusive Q&A with me on the Friday, 2nd of May, where I can go through the content that we shared today. But at that point, you would have had almost 2 weeks simmering on the learning, thinking about how to apply the concepts into what you do, come up with examples of how you will create playful love in your own context, and bring your reflection into that office hour. It's entirely free. There's not, there's no expectation, no requirement. If you want to use that resources, it's there for you. But if you don't want to, don't feel obligated. You can download this report and you can find definitions of playful love alongside of a range of other types of love, which is included in what we call the fundraising taxonomy of love. Okay, so today the playful love section is only one out of the many types of love that we cover in that report. But you have the full access of that report. So to start with, what is playful love? And where can we see it in digital fundraising? Well, in addition to being that exciting, low committed dynamic, it is also something that is quite unique to our nonprofits and to the people who support each nonprofit. So let's have a think about it. Well, what's more joyful than the image of a dog dumping in puddles? Well, if you're a dog lover, you will immediately raise a smile. And if you are really, really big dog lover, at this point, not only you'll be raising a smile, you would be leaning in, look at that really muddy dog on the right-hand side, falling over with other dogs. Well, if you are the kind of people who absolutely love dogs, then if Guide Dog UK put anything like this on social media for no other purpose but to generate a little bit of excitement and a little bit of lighthearted fun, then they would have succeeded. They would have become part of your daily joy in a very light-hearted way. So in a way, they're lifting the atmosphere around the donors and supporters, even if for that split second, with a little joy, with a little fun. Not everybody is an animal charity, fair enough. What about environmental education? We can have little children hugging trees and helping people feel how connections with nature can be formed in an innocent, light-hearted, and enjoyable way. And this is from examples of your own local Colorado Alliance for Environmental Education. They can think about in their fundraising communication, on one hand, to educate people in their head what their mission is, but at the same time, to touch people's heart in a way that is instinctive and intuitive. So it's almost like you are feeding the knowledge to the head with a spoonful of very tasty sweets. That's kind of the goal of playful love. It's not offered to people for commitment. People might be giving to multiple organizations. They don't have to be your most loyal donors, but they are the kind of donors and supporters that you can touch on a very light touched basis, meaning anybody who come to you. Do you have a spoonful of very tasty delight for them? Well, what kind of tasty delight can you think about to offer your people in the form of playful love to increase their excitement? The most irresistible and most fundamental feeling of love, especially cuddly love, is what humans have with cuteness. Anybody can say that German word can earn a little trophy. I think it's called Kindchenschema if you say it in German. But it is a classic definition of cuteness. It's baby-like images with big eyes, round face, chubby bodies, and they don't just apply to babies. It can be anything baby-like. Round faces, think pancake with blueberries or Nutella, but made out into big eyes, round face with a chubby body. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we want to think about in terms of baby-like images. And just when you wonder, does it really worth our serious nonprofit leaders' time to explore pancake with Nutella? Well, Weissman did a research in 2009 where she scattered 240 wallets around the city of Edinburgh in Scotland and counted how many were returned. What did they find? Well, these wallets had pictures inside of them, either a baby, a puppy, a family, or an elderly couple. 88% of the wallets with a baby photo in it were returned. And that is almost twice as much as the wallet included with a family photo. And what breaks my heart is the result about the elderly couple, because you know what? If my mother-in-law and father-in-law's picture in my wallet, I would want that returned. But that is the instinctiveness of the feeling that people can have and the power of that feeling to drive action. In this case, no human were even present. It's simply a photo that drove the action. So yes, it did worse the time. And when researchers add cute posters to student area where individuals recycle their rubbish, what happens? When cute posters were posted, the recycle rate increased by 27%. And exactly the same photo, when it's rated to be cuter, people are 17.6% more likely to donate to a campaign. So even if you're not a cute dog or cute cat or cute elephant charity, it's worth thinking about, is there any situation where your people can hug one of them? Because then you can post their photos together to give people a sense of warm, cuddly love. So at this point, I will pause for 30 short seconds for you to have a think about, is there any way possible for your causes to include little boys hugging trees, little puppy raising for something, little people hugging little paws that are being put through muddles and puddles and being rubbed with towels? Can any of those situations happen for you? 30 seconds. All right. This is your first round of thinking about your own situation. There will be multiple rounds and there will be more and more examples that you can mirror against what your organization is doing. So, what if cuteness is not an option? What other options do we have to grow playful love? Well, even Mary Poppins should take lessons from you. This is a fundraising communication generated by a children's hospital, as you can see, during COVID, where they collected a whole bunch of toys in the children's ward for children with terminal illness. And so when donors are being thanked for all these gifts that came in, they are told not, thank you for your contribution, thank you for the gift, thank you for the joy that you put in all the children's faces, which we can all say, but they were told, Mary Poppins should take lessons from you. that is different. It put a little bit of difference in around people, the atmosphere that people sit in when they get messages like this. Equally brilliant Mary Denver. This is her subject line. You can say that you are invited to a Cinderella dress rehearsal, and that is perfectly fine for email subject line, because guess what? What are people being invited to? A Cinderella dress rehearsal. It's perfectly legitimate, factual, and exciting if people love Cinderella and they love dress rehearsals. But it doesn't feel the same way as your magic carriage awaits. It's like bring in right into their atmosphere, into their situation, and to tell your donors that, guess what? I am taking those extra few minutes to translate what I could have said with about 10 seconds into something slightly more fun just for you, for no other purpose but to put a little delight on your face. Literally no other purpose, right? That is the beauty of playful love. At that stage of the relationship, people are not committed. You're not trying to kind of pull them into a relationship or anything. It's just like, I'm doing this because this is fun and because I want to show you a little love. So we have seen a children's hospital, we have seen theater, and now we are looking at Amnesty International, human rights organization located in Oxford City Central. What do? Pub quiz in Oxford. What picture do they put? Put your thinking caps on. In Oxford, that would have taken on a slightly different taste when these words are being put together by a human rights organization for a pop quiz in this city, right? So think about your causes. Does your cause have that sophisticated, innovative, thinking-based zeal in it? Does that match the thinking power of Oxford? Now, when you put those two together and you make it fun with thinking caps, the blend of it created a dynamic that people can immerse in. So it's not about, oh, get people some information and then let them do something. This is for people to just sit there and enjoy. Have that little moments of fun, and that's it. Because guess what? 10 days from today, you will forget everything that I say in this presentation. But you will remember this thinking cap, the feeling that it might have given you. You will remember the feeling the dogs might have given you. You will remember the feeling the hugging tree might have given you. Those things stay with people. So they might not look like they are as sophisticated as the words we put into our communication. Their impact is long-lasting and potentially profound when you try to build a relationship. Already, I've shown you the differences that they can make on immediate actions. In the long term, you can read from our research report that these loves increase the longevity of relationships and people's satisfaction of their relationships. So these, as mundane or even as simple as they might feel, they are worth the long-term investment to strategically plan. So great news that you've heard about this in April, because you've still got 8 more months to think about it for Colorado Gives Day. You can have plenty of opportunities to trickle these playful love throughout your communications. and to build that association between your organization and how people feel about you. So now, another 30 seconds to think about what kind of causes are you? What kind of Mary Poppins kind of figure that you can associate with your own causes? What kind of magic carriage can you invite people to? And what might be those really cute and fitted wordplay that you can put together to describe what you do in a really, really cute and smart way? Very lighthearted. When it's heard, it shouldn't make people feel it's deliberate. It's lighthearted, almost seemingly unintentional. That's playful love.
Jen, do you want us to take a moment while we're thinking about this and put it in the chat if we
Yeah,
want?
if you've got brilliant ideas, share with people.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, we focus on fundraising in Jeffco. What is the spirit of Jeffco? How can we relate to those folks and get them to be inspired? So I'd love to hear what other people are thinking.
Absolutely. Take a moment. Type in your cute and exciting ideas. Yeah, absolutely. Go for Mary Poppins bags too, you know? If that's how you connect, that's how you connect. Absolutely. Therapy dog. Brilliant, brilliant idea. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen that used in communications, Megan, therapy dogs. Their stories and their cuteness, absolutely go for it. Oh, art shows. And yes, I have a lot of examples also from pulse arts. Like little pulse, put them into colors and make them create cute little cards for special occasions. Kids with bubbles or balloons. Yes, absolutely. And just think about um Ali, when you think about kids with bubbles and balloons, think about how that relate to your causes and think about if there's any smart words play that you can put around the bubbles and balloons. How is the bubbly and bluey joy special to your nonprofit and to your cause? How to create cuteness for more sober about safety on roads due to dangerous. Absolutely. There are occasions where you want to create cuteness, and it's not necessarily have to be said in alongside of dangerous driving habits. We will see other examples, I think, along the line. Oh, actually, it's coming right next slide. But yes, Stacy, children smiling flowers in gardens, absolutely. And think about your similar comments. Think about your nonprofits calls. Why are children smiling flowers in gardens particularly suited for you? What's that special shine like a pop quiz in Oxford would give you when it is your garden, nobody else's garden, when it's kids smelling your garden, nobody else's garden? So you just want to think along those lines to make sure that it's localized. All right, brilliant. Great examples. Shall we proceed, or are you having fun already? That's what we want. That's what we need. That's what we want to create for our donors, is that feeling of fun. Brilliant. So What if playful love doesn't feel right? Like we are about dangerous driving habit. Well, I've got slides for you too. Because these are all the very common resistance that you will experience when you try to do something lighthearted, playful, fun. And that's why we go for children's hospitals. We go for Amnesty International Human Rights. We go for now children's hospice, causes that can't be more heartbroken. What do? They do it in fonts, they do it in characters, they straight calling it keep the joy alive with their fundraising campaigns for these children who are living in children's hospices. And just when we think that it is really not possible for any cause to have gamification in them or any sense of fun, let's just remember that it has been 10 years since the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. And these things did happen. And we can all remember them. And it did transform a
10
disease.
years ago, I did participate in the Ice Bucket Challenge. Then, ALS wasn't on my radar at all.
You were in a dirt league, and they were having.
So the reason for us to remember the Ice Bucket Challenge is not because we want to replicate it. Nobody was able to. So it is a very special event. But what I would like to use it to encourage you is before this, nobody would have thought ALS could be associated with a fun event. We're a serious organization. We do serious disease. We are not known. We can't go there. Well, they did, and they succeeded. So it is possible for us to succeed. And even sometimes we can't succeed with ice bucket kind of challenges. We can have 10-year challenge. 10 years ago, here are our people. 10 years later, that's how much we've grown. And you can bet if you look really into these 10 years ago pictures, you're going to see teenager pictures in there. People can laugh at themselves and with themselves and with others. Is there anything you can do in your organization that can help trace a 10-year history in some meaningful and yet fun way? Photos from 10 years ago of an icon today that nobody would have anticipated, nobody would have known, nobody would have even remembered. But if you put them side by side, togetherness will create an effect. So think about what your 10-year contrast, 20, 30, 40, however many long you have, as contrasts and present them visually for people. The more visually people can appreciate and can be part of that dynamic, the more powerful your communication will be. And finally, let's also pay attention to something potentially very small, but let's pay attention to them in a way that is consistent and tasteful. What does that mean? Well, kids say the darndest things. Well, yes, they do. But what do they say? That's from the subject line. Well, Shima, age 6, asked, this is the fundraiser, ask me, what do you do here? And I try to explain. Well, what do I do as a fundraiser? Well, I ask nice people like you to give their hard-earned money to pay for things like new books, camping trips, board games, and blah, blah, blah. The question I got in return, Who will give me money? Why? Can we buy candies? Do you beg for money, miss? You know, it doesn't take us having to go out and take a lot of pictures. It just takes one child, ask one innocent question, but we somehow capture it in our heart and we playfully present it to our donors. And guess what? In this communication and through this communication, the donors will feel that much closer to your cause, but not because of the seriousness of your problem, the sophistication of your program, the credibility that you've built up over the years, but simply because they enjoy you. They like you. They like how you talk. They like how you pay attention to children. They like how you want to present the most native part of who you are to them. And so how can we use this little kids say the darndest thing story to illustrate 3 amazing things you make happen with your gift? And where do you hear about these things? Do you ever talk about these things with your children, with your grandchildren, with your neighbors' children, with your friends' children? What questions do you get from them? Go out, have fun, have a weekend of asking children about your causes and hear their questions, get inspirations, and find your own love for children in a completely different new way. And most often when I ask my 14-year-old, she shocks me with reactions that I was like, man, this is brilliant. Seriously? She's only 14. Go after 6-year-old. You know, see the questions they ask you. You will be surprised. Inspirations are everywhere when it comes to love, especially playful ones. They are the experts. They play every day. Right? So find ways to talk about our fundraising communications and pay attention to them. So Hans.
Hey,
Tom,
Jen, could I mention something on slide 21 that really inspired me while you were talking?
Yeah, go for
Yeah.
it.
So this really hit me as you were explaining the 10-year challenge. And I was thinking to myself, I'm talking to a lot of nonprofits throughout the year. And when I read their website or read their Colorado Gives page, it typically says about their history or what they do or their programs. But while I can appreciate that, it doesn't excite or inspire me. But then when I get on the phone with them and they actually explain their organization from their own words, I'm in, I'm sold, I'm inspired. And so I think that has to do a lot with how you're writing, where you're finding that joy and that love. It has to come from you, not from a pragmatic history of 10 years, but what is the feelings, what has been accomplished in those 10 years. So that really got to me, that when I talk to the nonprofits, I feel everything, but sometimes the copy on the page, it's more pragmatic than it is feeling.
Absolutely. I mean, that's at the heart of this playful, lighthearted dynamic, right? It need to be in a dynamic. It need to have a way of going back and forth. Absolutely. And to create those dynamics visually is not the easiest thing to do, but you've got time. You've got 8 months to think about it, and you've got a lot of examples. And like I said, on the 2nd of May, feel free to bring all your brilliant ideas and you can inspire each other. But spend some time, sit around the tables with your staff, review the slide deck, which Jordan will share with you. And there's also the webinar recordings. If you want to share this with your colleagues and let them put their think cap on with a little light switched on and have a think about how to put words and pictures together. Yeah, feel free, go and enjoy yourselves. And ideally, you want this to be an enjoyable process. So my last 2 topics, one is on gamification and finally on matching gifts. So we'll go with gamification first, with yet more examples of how fun can be added. Gamification is basically the application of any gaming elements. Okay, so this is not to say, oh, you have to invent a whole new game in order to do gamification in fundraising. You just need to have some elements of it so that it feels like a game. Like you have point scoring, you have competition, you have rules. And the simplest case, you have 2 jars instead of 1 for tips in a bar, right? Just put cats and dogs there. Vote with your tips. Which one do you love more? Well, what happens? The baseline rate for tipping is 40%. With 2 jars, cats and dog competing, it's a 89% increase to 77.3% tipping. 85% by adding what? Some kind of rule that 2 groups that most people can relate to are competing. A scoring system that doesn't require any explanation, just people all can count money. Put this where you used to just put a donation jar. Online or in person. What kind of pointing system, rule, competition can you put in place? And man, if you're an animal person, nice cat of the week versus naughty cat of the week. And there's even explanations of Elijah and Popsicle, who has opened up and showed the staff how much he loves belly rubs versus stole treats from Daniel, his blind roommates. 767,645 likes. That's a lot of likes for a naughty and a nice cat. This little game went viral, caught media attention for nice and naughty cat of the week. Is there a competition? Oh yeah, there's a competition between the nice and the naughty cat. Is there a rule? Well, there's got to be some kind of rule, but nobody needs to know about it. Who cares? Is there a scoring system? I'm sure there is. I'm sure the staff spend a lot of time thinking about what is the most fair system to rate the naughtiest and nicest cat in the shelter. But again, nobody cares, right? We all had fun. We all like to read their descriptions, even when Tom wanted to be the only male in the room, so he beat up his roommate to keep all the girls to himself. This naughty boy, he's part of the fun parade with a competition structure. What kind of competition can you put in place?
And I'll interject here because I love these animal descriptions. But I think this could also be employee of the month or volunteer of the month or naughty or not naughty. I think it could have a lot of fun and heart, even if you're not an animal cause, or even if you're not, able to promote the kids that you're serving or the refugees that you're serving. So I think there's still lots of flexibility outside the animal model to potentially do this. And I'll just mention to folks, you can use fundraiser pages, you can use event pages, and so those peer-to-peer pages, which you can quickly stand up on Colorado Gives, could represent George or could represent Tom, and they could compete against each other. So there's a lot of cool ways, and this just really excites me for how to get folks engaged, of course, for Colorado Gives Day, but also outside of that. What's happening month to month? What's happening, bi-weekly at your organization where you can share some joy and love. So I love this.
Absolutely. Nicest smile, naughtiest smile, most teary smiles of the month. prettiest flower, bluest frog, you know, pick it, your pick. Like, even if you're in gardens with trees, think about the funniest position with trees anybody can come up with. You know, just have fun, go out and see how kids play. You will come up with a competition that people can enjoy, that never happened before, but specifically suited for your cause. So, in terms of communications, researchers actually, whatever time they have on the planet, they wrote 2 emails. One email inviting people to go to conferences while offering a game, the other one not. Obviously, if they offer a nice pack of gifts, nice show of the day, or nice anything else, they will get the lift. But the point of this experiment is simply by offering a game and the opportunity to play that game, they increased word of mouth, they increased willingness to participate the conference, and they find ways for people to share playing the game with this level of detail in their copy. It's like, what game? What is the competition rule? What is scoring system? Who cares? Come and play a game. It's just the presence of a game can get people excited. And finally, this is about the boringest game that me personally have ever encountered. You literally have Oreos and you slide and you dump them into a glass of milk online in your app. Nothing else. That's like, oh, Oreos, dump them into the cup. Guess what? If people think that is fun for them, they associate a better attitude with the brand and they have stronger behavioral intentions to buy products. So it's, in a way, doesn't really matter how much we individually, personally enjoy these games, as long as they can offer some lighthearted enjoyment for someone who might like them. So now, before I go to matching gift, shall we have just 30 seconds for people to think about, is there any opportunities at all for you to think about a gaming structure for your supporters and your donors? Absolutely. Absolutely. So far, everybody is thinking along the lines of applying existing games. And that's brilliant for next month, because it doesn't take a lot of thinking to work it out, right? Use it next month. That's your game of the month. But as you have more fun, think about coming up with your own little twist to existing games, whether it's a word play, is something special about your calls, the very specific small nuggets that you want to educate people about. Make those things into little games with a little bit of a rule to play. Oh, wow, that is brilliant, Katie. Think you can escape the systems? Play this game. Wow, wow, wow. That is, man, can you please send me that example so I include it in the next presentation I'm going to make about gamification? That is absolutely perfect. It's like it hits all the right buttons, right? Does it have a game? Yes, it has a game. Does it mention the game? Yes, it mentioned the game. Does the game fit your causes really brilliantly well? Yes, it absolutely does. It's your game. And that is the golden standard. So anybody has any questions, Katie is your girl.
Well, and I'll read it for everybody who is watching the recording. Katie said, as an example, for the reentry initiative, we recently included a game to show folks the challenges that emerge from folks reentering society after incarceration. It is part of an email welcome journey with the title, Think You Can Escape the System? Play this game. Love it. It brings joy even to such a serious topic because no one wants to have to think about the struggle of folks reentering society because we know it's hard, but this brings that joy. I love it. Woohoo, 10 points for Katie.
Yes, absolutely. You can become the local gaming champion. All right, final word on matching gift. Should you use it and how? And I know Jordan is going to have more information about this in September and October about what Colorado Gives offer the local community. But all that specification aside, what I'm going to talk to you about today are just a few different ways to think about matching gift. So you can begin to simmer on how you might make use of that resources down the line coming September. So this is about thinking about matching gifts. A matching gift, also known as a matching fund, is a gift made to your organization by a matching donor on the condition that another donor first makes their own gift to that organization, or many other donors first make the first 1,000 donation or first 2,000 donation, and then this donor will come in and match it. Authors academically have investigated the ratio of gifts. And what they found is that the presence of a match can substantially increase the revenue per solicitation by 19%. In addition, it increases the probability that a donor will donate by 22%. This kind of research, they have been replicated by economists around the world. So they're very stable results. You don't have to test it to know that this matching gifts effect is there. It's very reliable. Now, academics think that one-to-one match is about as effective as it can get. Meaning, if you can do a one-to-one match, you don't have to do 2-to-1, 3-to-1. One-to-one is going to fulfill the purpose of what a matching gift can fulfill for you in terms of fundraising efficiency. Now, practitioners sometimes disagree. And I think there's a reason why the academics and the practitioners might not have slightly different conclusion on this topic. And it is because academics, when they study it, they don't necessarily work with people who absolutely love the cause and want it to help. So it is possible that there is additional matching effect that is not detected in academic studies. So the digital fundraising team, M&R, they found that 81% of the groups in their sample promote matching gift in their year-end campaign. And they found that many of those with matching gifts increase the size of the match as the end of the year approach. So what this kind of put nonprofits into is the fact that if you don't have a matching gift, it's almost in a way you're in a disadvantage because everybody else is doing it. And that put a completely different spin on the impact that matching gift can have on your fundraising, because it's not about individual donors responding to the particular matching that you are offering. It's donors are being told by many, many, many others that if they all offer matching gifts, and suddenly when it comes to you, you don't, it almost become a hygiene factor then that you have to have something that sounds like a matching gift. So at least people don't feel like when they're coming to you, they're getting a bad deal. And that's what the peer pressure is now making the matching gift to, especially for year-end campaigns. So you need to take that into consideration when you think about how to offer matching gift and what matching gift to offer. Now, the problem of matching gifts, as partially what I have said, is that the mere fact that matching gifts are offered train people into a giving habit that focus on matching gifts. So when everybody offer matching gifts become part of donors' expectation, and therefore nobody actually raise more money out of matching gifts because it becomes part of the default. And once people get used to getting bargains in giving, if suddenly it disappears, it almost in a way de-incentivizes them to continue giving when matching is not provided. So you want to become thoughtful in positioning matching gift in your communication cycles. Position it partially into a seasonal offering. You know, every year at the end of the year, this happens. Every year with Colorado Gifts Day, so you are on par with all your peers. But don't make your fundraising case for it to be contingent on matching gift, because its effect is just going to tailor off and stop, at which point it's not going to be effective for you any longer. So how do you overcome the limitations of matching gift? Well, to think about matching gift in leveraging ways. What does that mean? Well, on one hand, when everybody offers match, it's like $1 for $1, $1 for $1 is donation, matching donation. But in other situations, for example, if people give you a gift, what it allows you to do may be to kickstart a program that you've already raised money for. For example, a corporation donated a lot of goods to you, but unless some individuals also donate some shipping cost for those donated goods can't be put into use. So really, if a corporation has donated you, for example, $1,000 worth of gift, that is going to take $100 worth of donation to become effective, then in effect, you are raising the $100 to make the 1,000 donated gift effective. That's leveraging. So in that case, you're offering a 1 to 10 leverage of your gift. And this can be used in any situations where your donor is doing a very small, little, tiny portion of your programs to make everything else possible. That's the kind of leveraging situation that you want to look out for and potentially create. This is very important that we can think in this leveraging way. So if there's any questions, please do put them into the chat box. We want everybody to leave the conversation knowing that in addition to thinking about matches, they can think about leverages. They're not the same thing, but they both multiply. And multiplication is effective in raising money, especially when they advance your cause and is positioned in a mission-centered way. All right, leveraging as one way of overcoming limitations that matching could potentially bring. Another way, as you know, being a philanthropic psychologist, you would know that this is going to be one of my options, is to overcome the limitation with love. What does that mean? Well, let's not just match your money, shall we? Let's double your impact and double your love and tell people what their kindness can do today. Right? So let's think about matching in a program way as much as a donor way. And this can be said in very different ways in impact and in love. And also tell them your love can be matched. You know, you can give to a refugee dad, but his love will match the love you have for his family. Wow. During Colorado Gives Day, we match your money. For the rest of the year, we match your love. There is your step. Tailoring the matching effect into something that is mission-based without diminishing the impact that the matching fund can have on your fundraising. You actually are positioning them alongside as your seasonal offers. So think about, what is your seasonal offer next January and next February? Once you've raised all the money you have, you say, okay, now it's time. Let's love matching, right? So speaking of love matching, here's my one last example. So here, in this example, is a refugee girl who is receiving the matching. In this case, is a refugee worker who is receiving the matching. Both of them are receiving the money. In this case, potentially a dad could match the love for the child. Now, in this next example, is a social worker who care for families with children diagnosed with cancer to match the love. So this social worker, if she knows that you're going to speak with donors, in her own language, she might say, I might be the light in their lives, but you are the one who keeps my light burning bright. So it is a match, but it's framed in that relational dynamic way. So it's not a simple, I touch you, you touch me kind of language. So think about how you can deeply rooting the matching of love in your fundraising case support. See, this kind of work is we're going to do with you in the Level Up program for the rest of the year. Throughout that program, if you are part of that cohort this year, we're going to encourage you to think about how you can grow love into pretty much every sentence you say. And this is just one example of that. Another way to say it, I might be a shoulder to cry on, but you are the strength I rely on. So give the donors a role in the very heart of the job that people do, with or without the word match. Because remember, what matters in love is the feeling that is being left with people. Is that togetherness that is at the heart of love. This doesn't mean that you can't use the word of matching. And this doesn't mean you can't think about these kind of languages in the context of any segmentation or profiling work that you are already doing in your organization, if you're doing any. But if you think about a social SAMI, 40 to 60-year-old who is a mother who is giving to this children's cancer charity, her language is going to be a language of love. So when you talk about matching in love in her language, the language is whatever love you have for these young lives. I, the social worker, I promise I will match it with mine. Now, if you are talking to established Ernie, whose language is about the difference that he wanted to make for the young lives, in his 65 to 85, very established, give money, no muss, no fuss. What is the matching language? Whatever difference you want to make for these young lives, I promise I will match it with mine. So there are all different kinds of ways for us to think about matching gifts. It can be matching money, it can be matching love, it can be matching love to the beneficiaries we help, the workers on the front line, and it can be in this intimate way where the voice of the social worker, the characters of the donor, and your cause are all taken into account. So with that note, I'll invite you to start the absolute exciting journey of doubling your giving this year by thinking about all kinds of fun games that you can play, pictures you can use, playful love you can come up with. I mean, we're going lighthearted for now. It's only April, right? There will be a lot more different kind of loves in different webinars that Jordan is going to put together for you that will allow you to double your giving in other ways. But for now, if you want to spend 10 days thinking about everything we've talked about, come up with some solutions, feel free to register for this office hour, come and discuss your solutions, hear what other people have heard about. If you want to learn way, way, way more about this way of thinking, we have the certificate in philanthropic psychology. Because you're in the webinar today, you can use this code, get a 20% off. That starts on the 12th of May. All right, whatever you want to do, taking this project forward, any questions you have, here's my email. Anything else I can do, just tell me in email and we will go from there. Any questions you have, we will address them now. Jordan, over to you.
Thank you. I think this is just such great content and just really important right now, because a lot of what I saw in the chat was we're at a turning point. There's urgency in what we need. There's heaviness to what's going on. And there is. We feel it every day.
Absolutely.
That's not necessarily what you want to put on your supporters and donors. You still want them to be engaging with you with love, hopefully without fear, with inspiration. And I think these games and this type of language is going to do that. So I just want to thank you. For the most part, I do think you answered in your slides some alternatives for the folks that were submitting chats. And then you gave some great resources. So I encourage everybody to show up for the May 2nd discussion with Jen. I'm going to be there. I want to hear what everybody's thinking about. And I think that'll really help you to cultivate folks all year long, even outside of Colorado Gives Day. We talk a lot about Colorado Gives Day, but it's really about the full picture of how you're loving your donors around the year. So Jen, I can't thank you enough, and I hope everybody's able to take these resources that you've shared and spread their wings and say something a little different to their donors this year.
Yep.
Thank you all. I think we can go ahead and finish. But Jen, any final words from your side of things?
No, just have fun.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Oh, love you guys. Have a great day and a great week.
Yeah. Bye.